everyone, Tim Schofield here, and Xiaomi just sent over this locked suitcase, and inside is their new flagship phone, the 11T Pro. When we crack into this suitcase, we are going to unbox the 11T Pro, which has the latest Snapdragon 888 processor, a 108 megapixel main sensor. You also have a couple specs at 120. First of all, the 120 hertz display, which is great to have, but you also have a 120 watt charging system in the 11T Pro. So we're going to unbox this phone real quick, take a quick look what comes inside the box, and then of course get some hands-on with this latest flagship. Let's crack open this suitcase. Okay, opening up the case, inside we have our Xiaomi 11T Pro. Showing off the 108 megapixel camera, 5G capabilities, and on the side, easy access to the Google apps you use the most. Opening up the box, let's see what we get. Standard SIM ejection tool, our usual booklets, warranty information, getting started guide, and an extra. We have a case, just a clear view case that you can put on the phone. Not onto the phone yet, but if you're interested, here are some of the specs. Like I said, 120 watts of charging, 120 hertz AMOLED display, and that Snapdragon 888 from Qualcomm. Setting that to the side, we'll get to it in just a second. Continuing through, and here it is, that 120 watt charging brick, fairly large as expected if you're going to output that much power. It is USB Type A, so our cable here is of course going to be USB Type A. USB Type-C, it does have some orange accents on the inside, but again, 120 watts of charging is pretty insane. Moving along, let's check out the 11T Pro, taking off the plastic and the back sticker. There's a really cool brushed look to the back of the phone here. Now I'm going to boot it up, and while it boots up, I will take a closer look at the hardware. I also want to make note that it looks like there is a pre-installed screen protector on the device. So down at the bottom, we've got our SIM card slot, microphone, USB-C slot for charging. One of the speakers, again, tuned by Harman Kardon. On the right side here is our power button, volume rockers. Make note, pretty small camera bump overall, honestly. Not protruding out very far at all. Up towards the top, fairly flat design, and there is, like I said, Harman Kardon right there with a speaker. It looks like an IR blaster up towards the top, which I'm pretty pumped about. Not many manufacturers include those. And moving along on the left side, absolutely nothing. Flipping it over on the back, here's just a closer look. Xiaomi 5G, again, depending how the light hits it, you see that brushed design and a look at that camera system. So like we said, we have a 108 megapixel main sensor, an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle lens, and then a 5 megapixel telemacro lens for zooming and closer up macro shots. You'll see on the front a punch hole design with that front facing camera. It also runs MIUI 12.5 on top of Android. Now I'm going to run through the setup process, talk about anything that's noteworthy. Now let's register our fingerprint. Interestingly enough, it is built into the power button, so I'm going to lift and set down my thumb. Pretty interesting that they didn't include an in-display fingerprint scanner. They went with the power button, which is fine by me. I don't mind fingerprint scanners built in. Also, I'm noticing I really like the haptic feedback that this phone is given when I typed my Wi-Fi password, and I'm getting now as I register my thumbprint. So there we go, added successfully. You can add more later on if you'd like. You have an option between a classic and app drawer style launcher. I prefer having an app drawer overall. Setup is complete. We are all ready to go. Now let's take a closer look at that AMOLED display we've got. Now this is a 6.67 inch AMOLED display. You'll also notice it is flat, so it does not actually curve around the sides, which I know some people like. And overall, this also is a 120 hertz display, which actually looking at it doesn't seem like it's enabled out of the box just from scrolling there. Let's jump into settings, go into display, scrolling down, and refresh rate is actually at 60 hertz out of the box. So make sure you go in there, switch it to 120 hertz, and you'll definitely notice a difference. There we go. Much smoother overall, just feels faster. It's a noticeable difference in my opinion. Diving into the camera app, let's take some very quick photos here. Very little shutter lag whatsoever, actually pretty instant with the pictures being taken. And then when it comes to the various modes down at the bottom, one of my favorites, we have a Pro mode that we can use to kind of customize our shot, white balance. You can also shoot video in up to 8K quality if you're interested, portrait mode, and more. So a lot of different modes such as short video, vlog, 108 megapixel, night mode there, panorama, long exposure, a group of different ones you can have fun with. And then, like I mentioned, it has that ultra wide angle lens capability, so you can swap to that, or you can zoom in here up to 2x, and of course, zoom in much further, all the way up to 10x if you are interested. Now let's quickly test out that fingerprint scanner. So locking it and pressing the power button, one of the benefits of it being embedded in that power button is it unlocks right away. As soon as I press the button, it's reading that thumb. So you might want to actually register one of your forefingers if you're holding it with your left hand. Just a few different fingers to register. Now that's really quick. Let's see if double tap to wake's on. It doesn't look like it is, so I'm going to press it with my thumbnail there, and let's set it on down. You'll see very quick, very accurate overall. As expected, physical fingerprint scanners have gotten really good. Also want to make note, if I set my thumb down without pressing the button, it's working. So I'm not pressing the button here, and it actually unlocks. So there's really no need to even press the power button if you don't want to. Now finally, let's go ahead and jump back into our settings here. Scroll through with more display things such as AI image engine. You can mess around with that. Your color scheme, if you want things a little warmer, a little bit more cooler or more saturated, you can customize that. The always on display can be customized. I always like having this on, and you'll see you can have signatures, analog digital clocks, a group of different options with colors. You can really customize that always on display. Highly recommend turning that on, especially if you want to check the time real quick. It's always very convenient not having to tap your screen to do that. A lot of customization options in MIUI with wallpaper and themes. Let's go into additional settings though, because there are gesture shortcuts such as launching Google Assistant. 3 fingers down to take a screenshot. There we go. Always like to see it works how it should. Just use 3 fingers, swipe down, you're good to go. There's also something called back tap, which if it is what I think it is, I'm actually kind of excited. Let's test it out. Double back tap to take a screenshot, for example. I'm going to double tap the back of the phone twice. And it worked. Wow, look at that. It actually took a screenshot, and you can do triple back tap to a group of different things. Silent mode, calculator, turn on that torch. Kind of interesting. It's a neat little addition to the hardware of the phone. There's even double tap fingerprint sensor, which is interesting. Let's try turn on torch. And that worked really well. I don't know how often that would go off in my pocket or if I would accidentally press it and turn it on. I probably wouldn't do torch, but it really works how it should, especially with that fingerprint scanner. Just a couple more settings I want to touch on. Special features such as a Game Turbo Video Toolbox floating windows. If you want to move them around, view them, minimize different apps so you can multitask much easier. That is an option. A second space for separate and secure data. And overall, that's everything I want to talk about for now. If you look up at the top, you'll see I'm at, 19% battery left, which actually, with the 120-watt charger, I could go from 0 to 72% in 10 minutes, which is pretty insane. So in under 10 minutes, I can plug this in and get to that 72% mark. Just crazy fast charging. Out of this power brick into this phone. Well done, Xiaomi, adding that to phones. Hopefully I see more and more with this crazy fast charging. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to drop a comment. Let me know what you think about the 11T Pro from Xiaomi. Be sure to subscribe as well. A lot more content coming very soon. Be sure to click that thumbs up. As always, thanks for watching.